Hello friends, today we are going to start with our new chapter which is inheritance tax. Let's talk about the inheritance tax, students. It's a very simple, easy chapter. Many of students feels difficult this chapter or have trouble solving the sums of this chapter, but student, I must say that if you learn it very conceptually and if you revise 2 to 3 times, then it will be very easy for you, and there is not much complexity for the F6 students, but yes, little bit additional points will be there for the P6 students. Yes students, so if when we talk about the inheritance tax or the IHT, the IHT will arise in certain scenarios, like a person A is giving a gift to the person B, then in that case the IHT will arise. Or person A is giving gift to the trust and that trust will then transfer that asset to the person B, right? So there is a simple arrangement. That means that IHT will arise in the case of the student's gift. Now students, most of the time when we are talking about the gift, the person A and the person B will most of the time either connected person or they both the party can have the blood relationship. This I am talking about the most of the time, right? Students, in the practical life what happens that if a father owns some kind of shares or a house, residential property, in if that father transfer that house or asset or gift that house to his son, then in that case students we can say that person A have given a gift to person B, and in the practical life most of the time I told you that it can be either a connected person or blood relationship. So either it can be father son, either it can be the father daughter, either it can be husband and wife, any of the party can be there. Student, you can make a gift directly this way, that person A and then directly transferring the asset to person B. But what you can do is that father can do that, father can transfer the asset to the trust B. This is the name of the trust B, and this trust beneficiaries are person B. So that means that father or person B means son, we can say. Yes. So students, we can say that father have gifted the asset to the son, but not directly, but indirectly via the trust. Right? So actually father have transferred this asset to the trust, or father have gifted the asset to the trust, not directly son but to the trust, and then the trust beneficiary is the son himself. So this kind of the gifting can arise, and in this kind of gift also students the inheritance tax will come. So you can make any way kind of the gift and the IHT will be there. So students, when I'm talking about the most of the time, obviously no one person in the world that will give the some amount of money to the unconnected person. So if a person is giving the gift to the unconnected person or just benefit of that person, right, then we call it as a charity, right? So in the case of students, a charity, if we are making charity, if we are gifting some asset to the unconnected person, right, then it will be called as a charity. So if you are making a charity, if you are making a gift as in charity, then it is very obvious that students it will not be under purview of the IHT, right? So generally most of the time the gifting will be to the connected person or our friends, associate, our blood relationship people, right? Now students, this is just a basics, right? So I told you that there are two ways of gifting, either you gift directly or via the trust. Now students, assume that the father wants to give some asset, gift some assets to his son. Then I told you that there are two ways, but students, father can gift the asset when father is leaving. That means that father is still exist in this world and he is not died, right? And either second way is that father can keep that asset, father can keep that house, and he can just write a will and when he died, according to that will, the asset will be automatically transferred to the son, right? So either father can transfer the asset when he is living, that we call as a lifetime gift. And if the father is giving the asset after his death, then we can call it as a death gift. Or we can say that the person is transferring his whole estate to his son after the death, right? So temporarily, students, we are not going deeper into this concept, but this for your just clarity. But students, let's come up to the HMRC's definition of the IST, or we can say the proper definition of the IST. We have just seen the basic purview of the IST, that when IST will arise, and let's come up to the directly definition of the IST. Students, IST will arise when there is a transfer of value. That means, students, transfer of value means nothing. Transfer of value means a gift, right? When there is a transfer of value of chargeable property, that means they are talking about some assets, property by chargeable person. Students, here first of all we have to see that what is the meaning of the transfer of value, what is the meaning of the chargeable property, and what is the meaning of, students, a chargeable person. So we just have to see that what is the meaning of transfer of value. It's nothing but, students, the value of a gift. If we take a simple example, students, you have total worth of estate of, students, 10 million, and you have just gifted the 1 million pound of the house to your son. Then you now have left with the worth of asset of 9 million, right? So we can say that the 1 million is your transfer of value. You have transferred 1 million of the value to your son in the way of the house, right? So transfer of value, we can say, is nothing but simply the value of the gift. And most of the time, students, they will give you in the examination, and you don't need to calculate that part, so don't worry about it. But sometimes, students, in the case of the FCX, they may ask the MCQ, in the MCQ, that calculate the transfer of value. Now, how do we calculate the transfer of value? Simple, we just need to compare the estate before gift, that is 10 million in our example, and we just compare with the estate after gift. So after gift, our estate value was 9 million. So okay, we can say that we have transferred the 1 million pound of value to our son. So this is the transfer of value, or we can say this is the value of the gift, right? So simply we can solve this kind of MCQ by just comparing the both the value. Now, students, our next word or next topic is chargeable property. Students, chargeable property will, its meaning is nothing but every kind of asset that person owns, right? Whomsoever, that means a father is owning like 10 assets, then all the assets will be chargeable because he is owning every kind of asset. And the simple meaning under the IHT of the chargeable property, students, you have to include all assets. There is no such thing as a kind of exceptions or exemptions. Unlike CGT, students, you will not have that kind of the list. And in the CG, students, we were having the separate list for the chargeable assets and the exempt assets, but here we don't have any kind of list. Each and every assets will become your chargeable property. The third thing is a chargeable person. Students, if we say the simple meaning of the chargeable person, then in every chapter of the our whole taxation, students, many of the time we have used this word, like under the CGT, students, whomsoever person is a resident of the UK will be called as a chargeable person, right? So whomsoever is UK resident will have to pay the capital gain tax if any kind of capital gain tax arises. Same with the case of the income tax, and the person must be the resident, UK resident, and then that person become the chargeable person, right? So but here in the case of the CGT, students, the person's residential status is not important. So you will say that, sir, if non-UK resident person gift some assets to other person, then also we will levy the IHT. Yes, student, I am coming on that point also. I am telling you is that residential status is not important. But students, how do we decide then who are the chargeable person? How do we decide? If we are saying that the residential status is not important, then students, the only thing important is domicile status. What is this domicile status, students? This that we will learn domicile status we will learn in the upcoming sessions, but temporarily you just have to remember that for this IHT the domicile status is important, and if the person is domicile, yes, he is a domicile, then student, what will happen if the domicile in the UK? Then that person will have to pay the IHT on worldwide assets. Got it? And if the person is, students, not domicile in UK, then students, only IHT have to paid on UK assets only, right? So IHT is the maybe the only concept where you have to consider the domicile status, and just like residential status, the person have to fulfill some conditions and then he become the UK resident. The domicile status works in the same way, that there will be some conditions. If you are fulfilling those conditions, you will become your UK domiciled, right? So but those rules we will see in the upcoming sessions, but temporarily these three words you have to remember, and the definition also, right? Now, so we have completed the overall basic things, but still once again I am reminding you is that, students, IHT will arise in the case of the gift, and IHT word itself is saying that inheritance. That means that in the most of the case, students, whatever we are receiving from our father is called an inheritance, and we are the assume that son. And now it's very simple to assume that when IHT will arise, most of the time these kind of the scenarios will create the inheritance tax. But HMRC or the tax itself have referred most of the time, have used gift word as the most of the time, right? So we will also make an habit of the word gift, right? Now students, if we are saying that there is a gift, right, and there is a transfer of asset from person A to person B, and this transfer is without any consideration, so can we say that the person A is a donor and the person B is a donee? Yes or no, students? Yes, we can easily say that the person A is a donor and the person B is a donee, and this transaction will be considered as an gift, and it will be levied that inheritance tax. So students, many of the time in future in the upcoming sessions, I will not say that the person A or person B. I will use the word donor and the donee, so you will have to understand what I am talking, right? So yes, this is also you have to remember. Now let's move forward, students. In the initial session, students, I told you that either the person can gift the asset when he is leaving, or there is second option that he holds that asset, he holds that house, and when he dies he will write the will, and under that will he just transfer, or he has just written that give that particular house to my son. So in the both the cases there will be considered as a gift, and in both the cases students IHT will be levied. But student, when the person is living and during his lifetime he is transferring the asset, that is called a lifetime gift, right? So students, initial level pay, in the initial level we have to consider the implications of the lifetime gifts. We are currently not reviewing the what will happen in the at the time of the death will, and what will happen if the person is giving the asset or gifting the asset at the time of the death. So currently we are focusing on the lifetime gifts. That means that we are assuming that the donor is still alive and is not yet died, right? So yes, the donor is alive. So students, under this lifetime gift there are three kinds of the transfer which can be possible. The first transfer is exempt transfer. There are some transfer which is totally exempt from the IHT students, and you don't need to do anything under the exempt transfer. And there is only one transfer which is exempt, which is the transfer between students' spouses. That means husband is gifting the asset to his wife. That is called transfer between spouse, and that will be students totally exempt on gift date and on the death date. Every time it is totally exempt. Now the second transfer is students very important, that potentially exempt transfer. Students, potentially exempt transfer PAT can only happen, or we can consider the PAT, any transfer as an PAT if it is a gifting between two people. That means that person A is gifting us directly to person B without any involvement of the trust. So this is a direct gifting or direct transfer from person to person. So you can only consider any gift as an PAT if it is made by a person and directly to the person B. Now students, in the case of the PAT, on the gift date, what will be the taxability? Because you know that if it is exempt, then we have also already considered the exempt transfer. That means that other transfers will not be exempt, right? But student, if you have focused on my wordings, I have told you that PAT means potentially exempt transfer. That means that it has some kind of the potential of being get exempted by HMRC. That means there will be some conditions. If that conditions are getting fulfilled, then we can say that it will be exempt. If not fulfilled, then it will be chargeable. So we are just coming up with the rules of the PAT, that how the taxability will be there. But student, for the PAT, on the gift date, that means when the person is gifting that asset on the that gift date, it will not be chargeable, on the gift date. Then what will happen when it will be chargeable? Students, the PAT, any kind of the PAT you make will be chargeable only if donor dies within 7 years. That means that we have conditions over here that assume that students, in the year of 2020 is our gift date, right? That means 1st January, assume that 2020 is our gift date. Then temporarily on the gift date it is not chargeable. Then we have to see that when donor is dying. Right? When the donor is dying, when donor dies. Students, we have seen that if the donor dies on 1st January 2025, that means that if donor dies within 7 years, students, the donor dies within 5 years, which is obviously less than 7 years. That means the donor dies within 7 years. Then on the death date, there will be IHT liability, students. Please remember, And assume that, students, if donor dies, assume, just take an example that if a donor dies on 1st January 2030, which means that donor is dying after 7 years. That means that on the death date, students, no IHT liability. So students, here we can conclude that in the case of the pet, if the person is transferring the asset to directly other person directly, then in the case of the pet, we have to consider, or the IHT implication, IHT liability is totally depend on which thing, the duration or gap between gift date and the death date. So if the gap is less than 7 years, then there will be certainly the IHT liability on the death day, students, right? Because when we are gifting something, we don't know that when that person will die, obviously, right? So on the gift date, we don't know that when person is die within 7 years or after. So on that gift date, there will be no chargeability. But on the death date, we know that what is the gap, and if it is less than 7 years, then there will be the chargeability IHT liability. And if that gap is more than 7 years, then there will be no IHT implication, no IHT liability, students. So this is how we concluded the PET. And the last transfer is, students, the chargeable lifetime transfer, CLT, right? So now this, what will be included in the CLT, students? Nothing but a gift made by person A to the trust. That means any kind of transfer made via the trust or made indirectly, and that will be considered as an CLT. But now, students, what will be the tax liability in the case of the CLT? On the gift date, students, there will be partial IHT liability will arise. Please remember, there will be partial IHT liability will arise. And once again, if the donor dies within 7 years, then, students, in that case, additional IHT will arise. IHT, right? So let's take an example that, once again, on the 1st January 2020, what? On the 1st January 2020, that is our gift date, and on the gift date, students, 20 or 25% IHT will arise if it is a CLT, right? This is the rule of the CLT. On the gift date, instantly you have to apply the IHT at the rate of 20 or 25%, irrespective of the student, the date. What I'm trying? You have to directly, instantly apply the IHT rate at the rate of 20 or 25%, irrespective of the death of the donor, whether that donor is dying within 7 years or after 7 years. Assume that person is dying within 7 years, then on the death date, additional IHT at the rate of 15 or 20% will arise, students, additional IHT. Right? And if suppose that students dies after 7 years, that means the gap between death date and the gift date is more than 7 years, then on the death date, no IHT liability, students, just like on the death date, no IHT liability. Right? So over here, under the CLT also, students, we can conclude that the IHT implications will once again be dependable on the gap between death date and the gift date, right? But over here on the gift date, you will certainly have to apply the IHT liability even if that person dies after 7 years. So yes, that's why I have written that on the gift date there will be partial IHT, right? Instantly partial IHT, and then we have to see that how much is the gap between that. So if the gap is more than 7 years, then there will be no additional IHT liability. Got it? So students, we are done with the basics or introduction of the IHT, and We have seen the basics, then definition of the IHT, and we have seen the meanings of the three words: transfer of value, chargeable property, and chargeable asset. And then after, we have seen the implications of the lifetime transfer, lifetime gifts. Under that, we have seen the three types of transfer: exempt transfer, potentially exempt transfer, and chargeable lifetime transfer. We have seen the basics of the taxability. In the next session, students, we will do some sums, examples also, right? And then after, you will get more clarity on these things. So we are currently ending up this session. We will do the next concepts or next topics in the next session. Thank you, students.